Hello and welcome to video 6 in this video series. During this video we're going to look at this class that we created in the previous tutorial number 6, and we created this class in that tutorial, and now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this class into a library to be used with Arduino IDE. Once it's turned into a library, we can implement it in a better way, or in a way where we don't see all this animation class code, because you don't really need to see that, that's doing various stuff. Instead we'll just import the library rather than showing all of the code. So the first thing we need to do to create a class is to create the class's header, and this bit that I've highlighted here is the class's header. So all I'm going to do is highlight the whole header, so from where it says class animation all the way down to the bottom close curly bracket semicolon. I'm just going to copy all that information and paste it into Sublime. So Sublime is a notebook application that's quite useful when you're doing programming and stuff like that. You don't have to use Sublime. I'm using it here because of the color coding and stuff that it uses. You can use just an ordinary text editor for this. It does not have to be Sublime. Okay, so I've copied and pasted the header into Sublime, and now I'm going to save it. I'm going to save as, and I've already created a folder to save this in on my desktop just because it's easier. So I'm going to save it in this folder, and I'm going to call this the name of the class, which will be Leet PL animation. That's what the class. Then I'm going to put .h because it's a header file, and then we put all of that in speech marks. We put all of that in speech marks, so it gives us the .h extension. So I've called that Leet _PL _animation. So that's now called Leet _PL _animation. The reason why I've put the PL in there is because I'm going to create a proper animation class with lots more functions in, and I don't want this to interact with that in any way. So now we've called it that, we now have to rename it within the class. So within the class in Sublime Notebook, I'm just going to, everything that's called animation, I'm going to rename it to this, to Leet _PL _animation. So copy that and then paste it there, and that's it. That's all we need to do. So that is now done. So we've created the header file. Now we're going to create the code file, which will have a CPP extension, CPP standing for C++, and all we do is we select everything in our code file from the constructor, so animation : animation, all the way down to the comment that says end of animation class. So we select that, we copy it, and we paste it into Sublime. We then click on File, Save As, and we call this file L33T, so Leet _PL _animation.cpp. And remember, you must put it in speech marks in order to get the extension to be applied to the file name. And then we just click on Save. So now we have two files. We have Leet PL animation.h and Leet PL animation.cpp. So we've got both our header file for our library, or for our class, and we've got our code file. Now there's one thing we have to do here, and that is because we've changed the name of the animation class from animation to Leet PL animation, wherever we see the word animation we need to select it, and paste over Leet PL animation. Copy and paste that. So we just need to do that everywhere. So wherever it says animation, which will be in the signatures of all your methods, so all these methods will need to be changed from animation to Leet PL animation. We could have kept the name as animation, and if you want to, you can keep it called animation, The only thing is animation isn't a very good description of what it is, and that's why I've added LeetPL there, because it stands for Leet as in this channel. LeetPL stands for partial library because it is a partial library, and it's the animation library. So the full version of this library we just called Leet Animation rather than LeetPL Animation. So now we've renamed everything that we need to rename. I'm just going to have a quick check. There's one more thing we need to do to the code file, and what we need to do, we need to include two things. We need to include Arduino.h, because we are writing, this is going to be using Arduino IDE, and we also need to include the LeetPL animation header.h. And as long as you've included that file there, then everything should work fine. So all we need to do now is save that file. So I'm just going to double check to make sure it doesn't say animation. I'm going to Control and F, because if you make a mistake here, it can be quite difficult to debug once you add this as a library into your code. And once these are added as libraries, they'll all be stored in your library folder for Arduino IDE, but no, I've not left any animation keywords, which is fine. So cool, so we save that. So we've got our code, we've exported our code from Arduino IDE into Sublime. We've created a header file for our library and a code file for our library. So the next thing to do is to go into our library. So this is the folder that we have created for our library, and I'm just going to bring this over to the other screen. And the next thing to do is to create a file in here called keywords.txt, and this is just a thing that the Arduino IDE needs. It can be empty, you can put stuff in there, but in our case we can leave it as being empty. So that's it really. So that's our library done and dusted and fully made. But how do we now add this to Arduino IDE? The easiest way to add this library to Arduino IDE is to select both your header and your CPP file. Right click on it, and click on and turn it into a zip file. So I've got WinRAR installed on my computer. You might not have that installed on your computer, so you do this differently. But if you've got you can click on, if you've just got Windows, you can click on Send to, and then compress zip folder. Or if you've got WinRAR, you can click on Add to Archive. So for now, I'm just going to use the Windows built-in method. So compress zip folder, and that has now zipped that up into a zipped archive. So now we've got that folder, we can now go to Arduino IDE and add it to our library folder in the normal way. So all we do is click on Sketch, include library, and then add zip library. Click on that, and then we need to navigate to where this zip file is that we just created. So for my case, it's on my desktop and it's under lib. And then you can see it there, al33t pl animation.zip. So we click on that and then we click open. And you can see there it says library added to your libraries, check include library menu. So now I know I've added that, so all I need to do now is to add it to a Arduino project. Click on to sketch, include library, and as I scroll down here, we'll have a library called al33t underscore pl underscore animation, and there we go. And that is how you take an Arduino class in Arduino IDE and turn it into a library and then import it back into Arduino IDE. Now you can download that zip file from my GitHub site. If you download it from GitHub, there's an example included within the library. So you can go into File, Examples, find the library, and there'll be an example. That example is the code that we're going to use in the next tutorial. So in tutorial 7, what we will do is we'll use this library we just created to create the animation that we created in tutorial number 5. And you'll see the benefits of using a library when we do that. So thank you for listening. I hope this has been beneficial, and I'll see you next time.